New London News and Events, your source for local news. Hi folks, Steve here, back as promised to take a little bit closer look at the recently announced rate increase from Firelands Electric and take a little closer look at the numbers and share with you what I found so that everybody can have a better understanding of exactly what the rate increase is and how it may affect you and your electric bill. So let's take a look at a few things. First off, I want to talk about the wholesale price adjustment. The little section in the middle here is a screenshot. That's directly from my March bill. And if you've been watching your bill over the past several months, year or so, you've noticed that the wholesale price adjustment has continued to creep up. So what that is in a document called Rider A to all the billing documents, there's established a baseline for the wholesale cost of electricity. That's what Firelands pays Buckeye Electric for the electricity. And that baseline's been set at 8 cents a kilowatt hour for quite some time now. Of course, the wholesale cost has gone up over time. So as that goes up, that's created a larger wholesale price adjustment. If you look at the amount shown here, the 1.58 cents per kilowatt hour that was on the March bill for wholesale price adjustment, that value is the difference between what the actual wholesale cost was and that 8 cents per kilowatt hour. So part of what they're doing in the new billing structure is they're upping that baseline to 9.5 cents per kilowatt hour. Now that in itself does not directly affect that's not an increase in your bill. What that's going to do is bring things more in line so that this wholesale price adjustment will be less on the bills. That, of course, will fluctuate over time, month to month, as the wholesale price goes up and goes down. Now, if the economy improves, or maybe there's some deregulation in the coal industry, or maybe some EPA regulations are rolled back and the wholesale price drops, then if it goes below 9.5 cents per kilowatt hour, there would still be a wholesale price adjustment on the bill. But in that case, if it's below that 9.5 cents, the price adjustment would actually be a credit on the bill instead of a charge. So it's going to bring things more in line, make the bill a little more straightforward, show what you're paying for electricity without this wholesale price adjustment that probably a lot of folks don't really understand. So that's the wholesale price adjustment. Keep that in mind. It kind of comes into play here when we get to the very bottom line. Next up, take a look at the rates that we actually pay to Firelands for the electricity. On the top, the current rates. On the bottom, the new rates. As you'll see, if you look at the rates per kilowatt hour, the rates are only going up a couple cents a kilowatt hour. But the big change here is when you look at the under the energy charge, the price points. What it's been for quite some time is we pay one rate for the first 500 kilowatt hours, and then a reduced rate for the next 500 kilowatt hours, and then a little bit more reduced rate for anything over 1,000 kilowatt hours. In the new rate structure, that's changing. So the baseline is going to be everything up to 2,500 kilowatt hours, and then there'll be another rate for 2,501 to 5,000, and then another rate for over 5,000. Now, that's kind of important because what that does is it balances things out a little bit. That's the part that I had some questions about when I first went in and looked at the new rate structure and kind of had some conversation back and forth with Firelands to make sure I understood exactly what we were doing here. And so the bottom line is a couple of things. When Firelands, they're doing their business, right? They run a business. When they look at the revenue stream and where they need to be and compare to other providers in the state, one of the things they found was that at the 500 kilowatt hour per month point, they were very competitive. But above that, they were falling behind. And so they needed to make up that gap, obviously. But here's the other thing that I hadn't thought about. With the rate structure the way it was, again, the highest rate is at the lowest usage. So the way it was set up at 500 kilowatt hours, the very smallest electric users, think your senior citizens, your folks that just very small electric bills, they were paying the highest rate. What it in effect amounts to is the very small users were in a way subsidizing the cost of electricity for those that use more. So it's going to make things a lot fairer in the bill, spread it more evenly across the actual usage groups. And they did it also consciously to minimize the impact of the rate increase on the normal, smaller residential users. So it levels the playing field and, again, keeps those very small users from, in effect, subsidizing the cost of the electricity for some of the rest of the folks that may be using a lot more electricity. So let's look at some bottom line numbers. So here's the real story. If you, on the top, I got that based on 972 kilowatt hours. Those charges come right off of my March bill. I used 972 kilowatt hours on my March bill. And then on the right side under new, you see what that same amount of electricity would cost under the new rate structure. So even though the cost that I pay Firelands for the electricity goes up to 14.37 cents per kilowatt hour, because of that adjustment in the wholesale price, that baseline, the wholesale price adjustment on the bill would drop from 15.36 down to just 78 cents. So when you add it all up, including keeping Operation Roundup on there, which I am a big fan of Operation Roundup, the bill, my March bill was $179. Under the new rate structure, the same usage, the bill would be $181, so $2 difference. Now, according to Firelands, the average across their entire footprint, the average residential electric use is 1,153 kilowatt hours per month. So on the bottom part of the slide there, I did the math based on that average, and you can see that under the current billing, current rate structure, that 1,153 kilowatt hours would have cost $204 bottom line on the bill. Under the new rate structure, that same amount of electricity will end up costing $207, so $3 extra on the bill. So as often is the case, and I'm no different, you hear rate increase, and you think, oh, great. But when you crunch the numbers, find out it's really not that big of an increase. I got down to the end, and I thought I spent two hours doing all this math to figure out that it's $2. But I want to share with everybody, because it's important people understand, utility bills are kind of cryptic for all the utility bills. It's not like going to the gas station and you got so many, this is the price per gallon, and that's what it is. There's all these other charges and things that figure in. And so I thought it might be useful to kind of help try to explain this so people can better understand what their bill's telling them and what the rate increase actually does. So with that, I hope this helps. Drop a comment and let me know whether it's helpful, whether you'd like me to continue to do this type of video. I do appreciate the feedback. I do want to say that if you have any additional questions, if you have something you don't understand on your bill, you want some more information, I strongly encourage you to give the folks over at Firelands Electric a call. They'll be happy to answer any questions and help you out. Like I say, I hope you find this useful. I hope you find it helpful. And with that, I'll say I'm Steve, and thanks for watching.